In this mortar and stone, these windows and walls, love's earthly home heeding the call, it's bread for the journey, oil for the flame, for people of love, people of hope, people of change. When the place is what welcomes you in, you build it, you change it, so the promise of love can begin. Here in this room, here in these halls, hearts open wide, welcoming all. When a place is what welcomes you in, you build it, change it. 19 years and 2.5 months ago, a group of inspired, excited, and yes, sometimes quite frightened seekers of truth and beauty signed this congregation's founding membership book to create a place in Western Broward County designed to become welcome for the searchers, for the questioners, for the challengers of the status quo, for the thinkers, the hopers, the heart pounders, those hungering after love and after justice, the kind of folk that will not give up however things might change. And change they did. Change they must. This is not the same place now as it was then. It couldn't possibly be. We humans, we rail against change, unaware that even our railing against change creates change. You can't even say the word change without making some. Indeed, science offers us the observer effect. It states that the simplest of actions in physics theory, the mere observation of a situation or a phenomenon, is changed by the observation of that situation or that phenomenon. So when we welcome newcomers and visitors each time we gather, we are in proper fact welcoming change. So those of you who just came in this morning to observe, thank you. You change us just in coming to be with us this morning. When a place is what welcomes you in, you build it, you change it. Each one of us changed this place just by coming through the door. Just as every person who has ever been part of this congregation, ever in its history at River of Grass, changed it when they walked in. Sometimes changes we sought, sometimes not. But all of them changes we learn from. As long as we can remember, there is no win or lose. There is only win or learn. Or in true fact, there is only learn and learn, regardless of whether those learnings yielded what is deemed a win. And what does constitute a win in religious community? The size of the building, the size of the membership list, the size of the youth group, the size of the classrooms, the size of the sanctuary, the size of the committees, the size of the budget. These are all parts of the whole, to be sure, but none of these in and of themselves can be a true measure of the life and health of religious community. It's not the size of the congregation, it's the size of our proclamation. It's not the size of the congregation, it's the size of our proclamation. It's the size of our message. It's the size of our heart. It's the size of our reach, the size of our truth, the size of our daring to go and say and do what must be done and what must be said in the places it must be done and said to create the love, the courage, the peace, the principles, the connections, the righteousness, the healing, the joy, the justice, the love that would be increased in this world just because we were here. It's not the size of the congregation, it's the size of our proclamation. What else are we here for? Here are words from the original River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation Charter, filed in the Florida State Capitol in Tallahassee in the process of establishing this congregation some 20 years ago. Article 2, letter B. The general nature and purpose of this corporation shall be to bring religious liberals in closer acquaintance and cooperation in order to foster individual religious development, to provide religious education, and to further ethical liberty, freedom of thought, and other human and spiritual rights of all our fellow beings. Once again, because that's a lot. Article 2, letter B. General nature and purpose of this corporation shall be to bring religious liberals in closer acquaintance and cooperation in order to foster individual religious development, to provide religious education, and to further ethical liberty, freedom of thought, and other human and spiritual rights of our fellow beings. That was your first proclamation. Amen. This is the one you made at the start, the one you set upon paper to establish the life of this beloved community. This is the place you set out to be, the place that welcomes you in. And when a place welcomes you in, you build it, you change it. You change River of Grass did. More than it wanted to sometimes. Still, that first proclamation held. And then you built on that proclamation with mission and vision proclamations. You proclaimed your mission this way. River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation is committed to healing injustice and creating a sustainable earth while honoring each individual's search for truth, meaning, and faith. And after years of putting faithfully your ingenuity, your determination, and your backs into creating congregational life in temporary environs, you put your feet down here for the first time in this building. For those of you that don't know, for the first 2/3, 3/4 of River of Grass's life, River of Grass did what's called church in a box. Rented space, came in on Sunday morning, unpacked all the boxes, set up the sanctuary, set up the classroom, set up the teaching, set up the hospitality, got it all set up, did worship. When it was over, after hospitality, packed up the sanctuary, packed up the classrooms, packed up the teaching, packed up hospitality, put it all away, and then did it again the next Sunday. And then did it again the next Sunday, and then did it again the next Sunday. So was determined, this congregation, to make a place that welcomes you in so you can build it. So you can change it and be changed by it. That's no small feat. Yes, let's have a hand for our founders. You made your vision clear in plans outlining who you are and how you will be in this community and in the world. You invited seekers on spiritual journeys to join with you. And grounding it all, you enacted a covenant of right relationship, promising this. We, the members and staff of River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation, agree to strive to be in relationship with each other and with the larger communities in ways that build a safe, healthy, nurturing environment to strengthen our common bonds. And to that end, we are committed to putting forth our best effort to live out the ideals expressed in this, our covenant of right relations. 2012, you asked me to work with you part-time, to make some decisions and move forward in new ways. 3 years after that, you called me to stay as your settled minister. That was 3 years ago. Now this beloved community, this River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Davie, Florida, finds itself on the threshold of its future again. Ready for a new proclamation for a world desperate for the kind of strength, the kind of compassion, the kind of determination, the kind of hope and truth-seeking and depth and breadth of love that we have found here and grown here and nurtured here and proved here time and time and time and time again. When a place is what welcomes you in, you build it, you change it. So, preacher, I hear you wondering, why this primer on River of Grass congregational history? Because you can't see where you're going if you don't know where you've been. And when you set out to build upon something, first you check the strength and integrity of its foundations. I am here to declare to you this morning that the foundations of this River of Grass Unitarian Universalist congregation are strong. They are deep, and they are wide. And you have proven time and time again that there is nothing that you cannot do when you rise up and put your heart on it. And what's more, the future will be what you decide it will be, held in covenant, driven by mission, and called by proclamation. For in the living, thriving religious community, covenant binds, mission moves, and proclamation leads. Just a little bit, we'll convene for our annual meeting, and I want everyone in this room to know that you're welcome, members or not. Because you walked in here this morning, you're now part of changing us. We'll get to practice and observe our principled, if sometimes messy, democracy. We believe in it. We believe it's necessary to make the decisions that we make, which will have bearing on the life of this beloved community from this day forward. Our covenants will hold us. Our covenant of right relationship that guides our communication, and the broader foundational covenant we say every Sunday together: love is the spirit of this congregation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. We say this together every Sunday. This is our broader covenant. For the very purpose of covenants is to hold us together while we do the hard stuff. Anybody can stick together through the easy stuff. This congregation, this beloved community, has the strength and practice of working through the hard stuff together in its bones. We don't shy away. We don't turn away. We don't let the size of our dream frighten us from reaching for it. Mission will not let us remain static. Not if we're truly committed to healing and justice and creating a sustainable earth while honoring each individual search for truth, meaning, and faith. That's your mission statement. And not if we are to build on that first charter proclamation some 20 years ago that charged religious liberals in this community to further ethical liberty, freedom of thought, and other human and spiritual rights of all our fellow beings. That's your charter. I can guarantee you that when the proclamation of purpose for this congregation was set to ink, lo, those 2 decades passed, the founders of this place, some of whom are sitting in this room this morning, could never have predicted the shape our world would be in 2018. Nor could they have known that this beloved community is the exact shape needed to lead it, to change it, to heal it, to transform it. Founders could not have known the fierce love of this Unitarian Universalist congregation, this consortium of risk takers and safety seekers, of deep enders and dog paddlers, of let's go and oops, let's take a minute. Every theological stripe, every philosophy, every ethical background, every way you can possibly think we came in these doors. They could not have known that this exact combination of people in this room now, in this body of this congregation right now, is the exact alchemy our world needs desperately right here and right now if love is to prevail, if justice is to be gained. And these are our goals. This is our moment. This is our call. This is how we make a difference. This is how we leave a mark. This is how we strengthen the foundations that will bear up for generations to come. It's not enough that we found this place. We must secure this place for the generations to come. That generations down, people say it was River of Grass that made a way for me. It was River of Grass that welcomed me in and invited me to change. It was River of Grass that made a place for me. to grow and to become and to find out who I am and who I'm supposed to be in the world and what my duty is to change it. None of us is here for no reason. None of us is here for no reason. This congregation is not measured by the size of the building, or the size of the membership list, or the size of the youth groups, or the size of the budget, but the size of our proclamation in a world saying that we will never fail to seek justice. We will always plant the seeds of peace, and that we will love, and we will love, and we will love, and we will love, and we will love in the face of hate and resistance every time, that we will stand by this faith and by one another, that those in need not stand alone, and that we shall not be moved. Amen. 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 No, this river of grass, this river of life has called us. We think we found it. We think we stumbled on it. It called us. It called us out of our complacency, out of our oblivion, out of our habits, out of our comfortability, out of our selfishness, out of our distractions. It called us to heal and be healed, to surrender our pain, and to let the river teach us where and how we need to go. For when a place is what welcomes you in, you build it, you change it. So the promise of love can begin here in this room, here in these halls, hearts open wide, welcoming all.